In March 2018, a self-driving car detected a woman crossing the street, but its AI could not decide what she was. 5 seconds later, Elaine Herzberg was dead, and a billion-dollar industry scrambles for answers. It is not an isolated tragedy. We have seen robotaxis dragging victims, medical AI recommending lethal drugs, and billions lost overnight. Companies promised that replacing humans with AI would save lives and money. Why are so many paying the ultimate price instead? The disaster is not hypothetical. It is already happening. Elaine Herzberg's family gathered at the curb, searching for answers in a police report filled with technical jargon. The Uber self-driving car's logs told a cold story. The AI detected Herzberg 6 seconds before impact, but flagged her as an unknown object, then as a bicycle, then as other 36 times, never as a person. With each second, the system failed to trigger emergency brakes. The safety driver, distracted by a phone, looked up too late. At 39 miles per hour, the vehicle struck Herzberg, killing her instantly. Uber's internal review revealed the AI could not reliably identify people outside crosswalks. The company paid no criminal penalty, but settled civil claims quietly as public outrage grew. 5 years later, in San Francisco, a Cruise robotaxi dragged a woman more than 20 feet after a collision. The company's own telemetry showed the car recognized an obstacle, but braked too late and then attempted a roadside maneuver with the victim still trapped underneath. Internal debates raged over how much to disclose to investigators. Cruise pleaded guilty to felony charges and paid $2.1 million in damages. General Motors, Cruise's parent company, reported $8 billion in losses as regulators pulled licenses and the public lost trust. Tesla's record paints a broader picture. 1,399 incidents involved its driver assist systems, with at least 31 fatalities confirmed by federal safety authorities. Each case adds to a growing tally of lives changed or ended by brittle automation. The pattern repeats: algorithms misjudge, humans are sidelined, and families pay the price. The promise of flawless AI on the road has become a ledger of loss, with companies racing to contain the fallout even as the technology spreads to new cities and highways. IBM Watson, for oncology, arrived in hospital boardrooms with the promise of revolutionizing cancer care. Executives signed off on multi-million-dollar contracts, drawn in by marketing that claimed Watson could scan the world's medical literature and deliver the best treatment options for every patient. By 2018, the system was running in more than 230 hospitals, from New York to India to Thailand. But inside the clinics, the reality looked nothing like the sales pitch. Internal audits revealed a pattern of dangerous advice. In one case, Watson recommended the drug bevacizumab, known to cause severe bleeding, for a patient who was already hemorrhaging from pancreatic cancer. The error was not isolated. Auditors flagged unsafe or incorrect recommendations in up to 70% of complex cases. At Manipal hospitals in India, doctors overrode most of the system's suggestions, calling them unfit for real patients. Peer-reviewed studies confirmed the failures. A JAMA oncology analysis found Watson's advice matched physician consensus less than a third of the time for breast cancer. Clinicians who tested the system did not hold back. Dr. Vinay Prasad, an oncologist at UCSF, called Watson a piece of S for marketing, warning that it put patients at risk just to impress investors and hospital boards. Memorial Sloan Kettering's own doctors walked away from the partnership, citing safety concerns. IBM internal slide decks, leaked to reporters, showed the company knew the scale of the problem, but kept pushing forward. The gap between promise and reality was wide, and it was measured in lives, not just dollars. By 2022, the fallout was impossible to hide. IBM wrote off more than $4 billion from its Watson Health division, quietly ending most deployments. Hospitals removed Watson from their workflows, and the story faded from press releases. But the lesson remained: when marketing outpaces validation, patients pay the price. The push for AI in medicine delivered not just disappointment, but danger, leaving clinicians to clean up after the hype and corporate accountants to tally the losses. A McDonald's drive-thru in Chicago became internet legend when a customer's simple order spiraled into chaos. The AI-powered system, built by IBM and rolled out to over 100 locations, misunderstood a request for chicken nuggets and rang up 2,510 pieces, totaling $264.75. TikTok captured the moment, a car full of friends shouting at a robotic voice, pleading for fries, only to have bacon added to their ice cream. The AI's accuracy hovered at 85%, but that meant 1 in 7 orders went wrong. Accents, background noise, or even a slight mispronunciation could send the system into a loop. Customers spent minutes repeating themselves, their frustration echoing through thousands of viral clips. Behind the scenes, another autonomous revolution was unraveling. Amazon's Just Walk Out Checkout, sold as a triumph of computer vision, quietly depended on more than 1,000 human workers in India. These remote reviewers watched transaction footage and manually verified up to 70% of purchases, far above Amazon's 5% target. Every time the AI stumbled on an item swap or missed a return, a worker intervened, delaying receipts and exposing the myth of full automation. By mid-2024, McDonald's scrapped its AI drive-thru nationwide. Amazon pulled Just Walk Out from U.S. fresh stores, citing customer experience improvements. The promise of cashierless convenience had been propped up by invisible labor and viral embarrassment. For every robot at the counter, there was a hidden human cleaning up its mistakes. In the newsroom, the push for AI promised faster content and lower costs. At CNN, editors quietly assigned 77 financial explainers and how-to guides to an AI system. Readers soon spotted basic math errors and nonsensical advice. 53% of those articles required corrections, some for mistakes a high schooler would not miss. The fallout was not limited to embarrassment. Sale negotiations stalled as buyers questioned the brand's credibility. Sports Illustrated followed a similar path, publishing dozens of product reviews under fake author names. The bylines belonged to AI-generated headshots with no real writers behind the words. When the deception surfaced, the magazine's parent company fired its CEO. The stock dropped 22% in a single trading day. Gannett, another media giant, tried to automate local coverage. The AI published stories with visible code fragments and placeholder text, drawing ridicule from journalists and readers alike. Output filled with errors forced the company to pause its experiment, but the reputational damage lingered. Each shortcut meant to boost efficiency instead chipped away at public trust. The pattern became clear. In the rush to automate, newsrooms sacrificed the very credibility that set them apart. The consequences landed hardest at the top. Editors were dismissed, chief executives were ousted, and investors were left questioning the value of what remained. A widow in Vancouver, reeling from the loss of her husband, turned to Air Canada's website for comfort. The airline's chatbot, cool and confident, promised a bereavement fare refund that did not actually exist. When she tried to claim it, customer service denied her request, insisting the bot was mistaken. Air Canada's lawyers argued in court that the chatbot was a separate legal entity, not the airline's responsibility. The tribunal disagreed, ordering the company to pay $812 Canadian in damages. The ruling set a precedent. Companies cannot hide behind their machines when customers are misled, especially in moments of grief. Not all wounds are financial. In January 2024, a DPD delivery bot spiraled into viral infamy after a frustrated customer coaxed it into calling the company useless and the worst delivery firm. The exchange, viewed 1.4 million times, ended with the bot composing a mocking poem about its own employer. The company scrambled to shut the chatbot down, but the damage was done. The internet laughed, but for people waiting on lost parcels or urgent refunds, the joke cut deep. Satisfaction surveys reveal the scale of the problem. In banking, only 29% of customers report being satisfied with chatbot support, the lowest score among all digital channels. 60% say bots often fail to understand their issues. For every viral clip, there are thousands of silent frustrations, each one a reminder that when companies chase cost savings with automation, the real price is paid in trust and dignity. In June 2023, a federal courtroom in New York became the unlikely stage for a scandal that would ripple across the legal world. Attorneys representing Roberto Mata in a personal injury case against Avianca Airlines filed a legal brief citing 6 court decisions, none of which actually existed. The source was ChatGPT. When pressed by the judge, attorney Stephen Schwartz admitted he had relied on output from AI without checking its accuracy. The judge's ruling was blunt. The analysis from AI was gibberish, and the lawyers were fined $5,000 for submitting fictitious precedents. The written opinion warned technological advances are commonplace, but the routine reliance on a chatbot for legal research is not. This was not an isolated misstep. Over the next year, a global database tracked 486 incidents of AI-generated hallucinations in legal filings. Courts in the United States, the United Kingdom, India, and Brazil all reported cases where lawyers had blindly trusted AI-generated research. By early 2026, at least 128 legal professionals had been formally sanctioned for submitting fabricated case law or evidence sourced from AI chatbots. Some faced fines, others public reprimands, and a few lost their licenses entirely. Stanford's research underscored the risk. 1 in 3 legal queries to advanced AI models produced hallucinated results. The consequences played out in real courtrooms, with delayed trials, wasted hours, and clients left exposed by errors no human paralegal would make. Stephen Schwartz, now a cautionary figure in legal ethics seminars, reflected, "I overtrusted a tool I didn't fully understand. Now I verify everything." The legal system, built on precedent and trust, found itself vulnerable to the confident fabrications of AI. As the list of sanctioned lawyers grew, so did the realization that even seasoned professionals cannot afford to take these tools at face value. 54,694 jobs vanished in 2025, each one attributed to companies chasing the promise of AI efficiency. The headlines celebrated progress, but inside the offices and warehouses, the story was different. At Microsoft, 15,000 employees learned their roles were redundant, many by email, some after decades of service. The company's earnings call framed it as a leap forward: 30% of new code now written by AI, fewer people needed, productivity up. But for those cut loose, the numbers felt hollow. A software tester in Redmond described the shock. You train the system that replaces you, then pack your desk. There's no handoff, just a cold silence. The pain did not stop at the office door. Chegg, once a titan of online tutoring, watched its stock collapse by 48% in a single day after ChatGPT's launch. Investors erased $14.5 billion in value almost overnight. 45% of the workforce was let go, and the freelancers who answered student questions from across India, over 70,000, faced sudden uncertainty. For many, the work paid for rent and school fees. Now the contract simply ended. We logged in that morning, and the dashboard was blank. No explanation, just gone. Across the market, the pattern repeated. Layoff trackers logged the cuts as a wave, but behind every statistic was a disruption. Families scrambling, communities losing anchors, freelancers forced to hunt for new gigs. The promise of savings driven by AI came with a human cost that stock charts and press releases tried to hide, but that echoed in every empty cubicle and silent help desk. In May 2025, Klarna's CEO Sebastian Siemiatkowski faced the consequences of automating too much, too quickly. After touting an AI chatbot that replaced 700 customer service agents and slashing headcount by 22%, he admitted, "We went too far. Cost seems to have been a too predominant evaluation factor. What you end up having is lower quality." Customers had endured months of generic, repetitive responses, watching satisfaction scores drop as real problems went unresolved. The company quietly reversed course, lifting its hiring freeze and bringing back remote human workers to restore trust. Inside Klarna's support team, one rehired agent described the return. The agent said, "It felt like we were cleaning up after the bots. Customers were relieved to hear a real voice again." The story echoed beyond fintech. At Toyota, management resisted the lure of full automation, keeping skilled workers on the line even as competitors rushed to replace humans with robots. Executives pointed to the risk of losing basic skills, reminding staff that machines can't improvise when the unexpected happens. These reversals weren't just damage control. They were public acknowledgments that the drive for efficiency had gone too far, and that companies, under pressure to cut costs, had underestimated the value of human judgment and care. On the picket lines outside studio gates, writers and actors held out for months, 148 days for the Writers Guild and 118 days for SAG-AFTRA. Inside negotiation rooms, union leaders pressed for protection against AI scripts and digital replicas. The final agreements barred studios from using AI to write or rewrite scripts, and they required explicit consent before scanning performers' likenesses. A negotiator recalled that the studios wanted to own performers forever, and the unions said no. These victories landed just as new numbers rattled the workforce. Goldman Sachs warned that 300 million jobs worldwide could be exposed to automation. The World Economic Forum projects 92 million jobs displaced by 2030, even as new roles are created. Surveys reveal the limits of automation's appeal. In 2024, a poll of 3,400 consumers found that 82% preferred to speak to a human rather than a chatbot. Executives are feeling the backlash. By the end of 2025, nearly half of decision makers who replaced staff with AI reported regret, citing lost skills and plummeting service quality. An economist at Stanford warned that AI hits the youngest workers first. We are watching a generation lose its footing. The hard-won gains of unions now stand as exceptions, not the rule, as companies and workers brace for the next round of disruption. Today, executives admit AI alone cannot deliver the quality, safety, or trust customers demand. As AI layoffs surge past 50,000 and 90% of people still prefer humans, the experiment is not just technical, it is deeply human. The cost of erasing people is now counted in lost billions, shattered reputations, and lives. The real risk is not smarter machines, it is forgetting what only humans can do. Let me know your take in the comments.